The story of the lost tribes of Israel is one of the most enduring and fascinating mysteries within the Bible. A tale filled with faith, history, and the fulfillment of divine prophecy. Once part of a united kingdom, the tribes were led by Kings David and Solomon, reigning over a powerful nation. After Solomon's rule, this unity crumbled, leading to the eventual scattering and disappearance of 10 of the 12 tribes, marking the beginning of an extraordinary mystery that has captivated scholars, historians, and believers alike for centuries. More than 3,000 years ago, the nation of Israel stood united under King David and his son Solomon. It was a period of strength, peace, and spiritual prosperity. Jerusalem, established as the capital, became the heart of the nation, with the great temple as a symbol of God's presence among the people. However, the unity that had defined the nation did not last long beyond Solomon's reign. A division arose, fueled by political strife and internal conflict. The once powerful nation split into two. The kingdom of Judah in the south, composed of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, and the kingdom of Israel in the north, home to the remaining 10 tribes. The northern kingdom soon fell into idolatry and disobedience, turning away from God's commandments. Despite repeated warnings from prophets like Hosea and Amos, the people continued down a path that defied the divine covenant. This rebellion led to a pivotal moment in their history. In 722 BC, the mighty Assyrian Empire invaded the northern kingdom. The 10 tribes were captured and taken as captives, scattered throughout the vast regions of the Assyrian Empire. The northern people were forcefully relocated, dispersed among foreign nations, where their identities began to blend with the cultures around them. This scattering marked the beginning of one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in biblical history, the disappearance of the 10 tribes, now known as the Lost Tribes of Israel. Despite their disappearance from historical records, both Jewish tradition and the Bible hint that these tribes were not entirely lost. The scriptures speak of a prophetic return, a future moment when the 10 tribes will be gathered from the nations and reunited with Judah, playing a crucial role in the unfolding of God's ultimate plan. Across the globe, from Ethiopia to India, Afghanistan to Nigeria, groups have claimed descent from these tribes, holding on to traditions and customs that echo their ancient Israelite heritage. Could it be that these scattered communities are fulfilling age-old prophecies? As we explore this story, it becomes clear that the lost tribes may still be playing a part in the grand design of human history, waiting to fulfill their purpose in the divine narrative. The story of the 12 tribes of Israel began with Jacob, also known as Israel, the grandson of Abraham. Jacob had 12 sons, each of whom became the patriarch of one of the 12 tribes. These tribes inherited specific portions of the Promised Land, and each carried its own unique identity and destiny. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, and Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, along with Benjamin, together formed the foundation of the Israelite nation. During the reigns of David and Solomon, they thrived as one powerful and prosperous nation. But after Solomon's death, this unity was shattered, leading to a divided kingdom and, eventually, the loss of 10 tribes from historical view. The fate of these 10 tribes has been a subject of intrigue for centuries. The northern kingdom, composed of the 10 tribes, faced God's judgment for its disobedience through the invasion by Assyria. The Assyrian forces deported the people of Israel to distant lands, spreading them across their vast empire. Over time, as these people were dispersed and assimilated, their distinct identities began to fade, and the 10 tribes became known as the Lost Tribes. But were they truly lost, or were they simply hidden, waiting for the fulfillment of the divine prophecy that promised their return? Across different regions of the world, communities have emerged claiming descent from these lost tribes, preserving customs that bear striking similarities to ancient Israelite practices. One of the most well-known groups is Beta Israel, or the Ethiopian Jews, who believe they are descendants of the tribe of Dan. Their presence in Ethiopia dates back thousands of years, and they have preserved unique Jewish customs, such as observing the Sabbath, dietary laws, and circumcision. Despite centuries of isolation from the broader Jewish community, Beta Israel has maintained a strong sense of identity. In the late 20th century, during operations such as Operation Moses in 1984 and Operation Solomon in 1991, tens of thousands of Ethiopian Jews were airlifted to Israel, seen by many as a fulfillment of the biblical prophecy of the regathering of Israel's exiles. Another group that claims descent from the lost tribes is the Bene Israel of India. According to their oral tradition, their ancestors were shipwrecked off the Indian coast, possibly during the Assyrian exile, and eventually settled in the western regions of India. Despite being geographically isolated from the broader Jewish world, the Bene Israel community has retained many important Jewish customs, including observing the Sabbath, celebrating major Jewish festivals, and following dietary laws. Their story is one of resilience, preserving their Jewish identity across centuries, despite limited contact with other Jewish communities. In recent years, many members of the Bene Israel have emigrated to Israel, further contributing to the rich diversity of Israel's population. In the rugged terrains of Afghanistan and Pakistan, some Pashtun tribes assert their lineage from the lost tribes, particularly Ephraim and Manasseh. Their claims are rooted in oral traditions that have been passed down through generations, often emphasizing their connection to ancient Israelite customs. The Pashtun practice traditions that resemble ancient Israelite laws, including specific dietary rules and marriage customs. Anthropologists and historians have noted similarities between Pashtun customs and those of ancient Israel, suggesting the possibility of a historical connection. Though their claims remain a subject of debate, the persistence of these traditions and the community's adherence to these ancient practices offer a fascinating dimension to the story of the lost tribes. The Igbo people of Nigeria also claim to be descendants of the lost tribes, specifically the tribes of Gad and Zebulun. Their cultural practices include customs strikingly similar to those of Judaism, such as circumcision on the 8th day, dietary restrictions, and the observance of religious festivals. Many Igbo believe their ancestors were among the lost tribes scattered during the Assyrian conquest. In recent years, growing interest in the Igbo connection to ancient Israel has led some members of the community to formally convert to mainstream Judaism and even emigrate to Israel, seeking to reconnect with their long-lost heritage. Their journey reflects a larger movement across Africa to uncover the lost remnants of Israel, raising the possibility that more such communities could emerge in the future. Another remarkable group is the Lemba people of Zimbabwe and South Africa, who claim descent from the tribe of Levi. The Lemba have maintained oral traditions that tell of their ancestors migrating from the Middle East to Africa centuries ago. Their customs, including circumcision, kosher-like dietary restrictions, and strict observance of the Sabbath, have intrigued scholars for years. Recent DNA testing has provided intriguing evidence supporting their claims, revealing that a significant portion of the Lemba population carries genetic markers associated with the priestly line of Aaron. This discovery lends considerable credibility to their assertion that they are descendants of the tribe of Levi. The Lemba story suggests that the priestly line, though scattered, may have endured in some of the most unexpected corners of the world, maintaining a presence that could play a role in the prophetic regathering of Israel. The Bible is clear that the lost tribes of Israel are not forgotten by God. Their return is a central theme in several end-time prophecies. One of the most vivid descriptions of their future regathering appears in the book of Ezekiel, specifically in Ezekiel 37. The prophet speaks of the vision of the valley of dry bones, where God promises to breathe life into the scattered tribes and reunite them with Judah. I will make them one nation in the land, on the mountains of Israel. There will be one king over all of them, and they will never again be two nations or be divided into two kingdoms. This prophecy points to a future time when the lost tribes will be restored, and Israel will once again be united as a single nation under the rule of the Messiah. This event is seen as a pivotal moment in God's divine plan for the end times. Isaiah 11 verse 12 also speaks of this event, referring to a second gathering of Israel. The passage indicates that God will once again reach out to reclaim his people from all corners of the world. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. This gathering symbolizes not only a physical return, but also a spiritual awakening among God's people, paving the way for the Messiah's return. The gathering of the lost tribes is not merely a historical curiosity, but a crucial part of the unfolding of end-time events, representing a divine promise of reunion and restoration. In the book of Revelation, we see the tribes of Israel represented again. 144,000 individuals, 12,000 from each tribe, are sealed for protection during the Great Tribulation. This passage reaffirms that even the lost tribes have a part to play in God's final plan for humanity. According to biblical prophecy, the lost tribes will be restored and reunited with Judah, together playing a central role in establishing God's kingdom on earth. This regathering will be a supernatural act of God, a clear sign that the final days are near. The story of the lost tribes is far from over. Though their fate seemed uncertain for centuries, the Bible assures us that God has not forgotten them. Through communities like the Beta Israel of Ethiopia, the Bene Israel of India, the Pashtun tribes of Afghanistan, the Igbo of Nigeria, and the Lemba of Zimbabwe, we see the first signs of their return. The prophecies in Isaiah, Ezekiel, and Revelation tell us that these tribes will play a key role in the end times as they are gathered from the farthest reaches of the earth and reunited with the tribes of Judah under the Messiah's reign. This unfolding narrative serves as a powerful reminder that God's ultimate plan for Israel, and indeed for the entire world, is progressing before our very eyes. The reappearance of these lost tribes is more than just an ancient mystery. It is a testament to the endurance of faith, resilience, and the unbroken bond between God and His people. As we witness various groups around the world claiming descent from these tribes, we are reminded that history is not merely a sequence of events, but the unfolding of God's divine purposes. The enduring mystery of the lost tribes continues to inspire and captivate, and their potential role in biblical prophecy gives us hope that God's promises are still being fulfilled, guiding us toward a future where His kingdom will be fully established on earth. After their exile by the Assyrian Empire, the 10 tribes of Israel were scattered across foreign lands. They were taken far from their homeland and found themselves among people of different languages, beliefs, and cultures. The fate of these 10 tribes has intrigued historians and scholars for centuries, prompting numerous theories and investigations into their potential descendants. What makes this story so compelling is not just the historical aspect, but the way these lost tribes seem to have left their mark on different societies around the world. The lost tribes are believed to have traveled across vast regions, integrating into local populations while retaining distinct elements of their Israelite culture. Their presence is often traced through oral histories, cultural practices, and even genetic research, which provide clues that link them to ancient Israel. One of the most significant aspects of this story is the notion that these tribes were not simply lost, but instead transformed, influencing the cultures they encountered and leaving an enduring legacy that persists even today. Take, for instance, the Beta Israel community in Ethiopia. While their origin remains a subject of debate, their customs and traditions bear undeniable similarities to those of ancient Israel. They observed Jewish laws, celebrated traditional festivals, and upheld religious rituals that echoed those of their ancestors. Their journey from Ethiopia to Israel in the late 20th century, particularly during Operations Moses and Solomon, was not just a migration. It was seen as a fulfillment of ancient prophecies that spoke of the return of the exiled. The Beta Israel's resilience in maintaining their identity over centuries, despite the challenges of isolation, speaks to the enduring strength of the lost tribe's heritage. Another fascinating group is the Bene Israel of India, whose story is marked by survival and adaptation. According to their tradition, their ancestors were shipwrecked off the coast of India and settled in the western part of the country. Despite centuries of separation from mainstream Judaism, they maintained key Jewish customs, such as observing the Sabbath, circumcision, and celebrating festivals like Hanukkah. Their integration into Indian society while preserving their Jewish identity highlights the adaptability of the lost tribes, showcasing how they were able to blend into foreign cultures while holding on to their spiritual roots. In recent years, many members of the Bene Israel community have moved to Israel, contributing to the nation's diverse cultural fabric. In Afghanistan and Pakistan, the Pashtun tribes present another intriguing possibility. The Pashtun, also known as Pathans, have long claimed descent from the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. Their customs, including their code of hospitality, tribal solidarity, and even certain religious practices, have been noted for their similarities to ancient Israelite traditions. The Pashtun refer to themselves as Bani Israel, meaning children of Israel, and their oral traditions suggest a deep connection to the lost tribes. While the validity of these claims remains a topic of debate among scholars, the cultural parallels and the persistence of these traditions point to a possible link to the ancient Israelites. The Igbo people of Nigeria also add a unique dimension to the story of the lost tribes. The Igbo have traditions and practices that are strikingly similar to those of Judaism, including circumcision on the 8th day, the observance of dietary laws, and the celebration of festivals akin to Passover. The idea that the Igbo might be descended from the tribes of Gad and Zebulun has gained traction over the years, especially as more members of the community have embraced Judaism and sought to reconnect with their heritage. The Igbo's journey is emblematic of a broader movement across Africa, where many communities are exploring their potential Israelite roots and reigniting a sense of connection to the lost tribes. Perhaps one of the most compelling cases for a connection to the lost tribes is that of the Lemba people of Zimbabwe and South Africa. The Lemba claim descent from the tribe of Levi, and their customs reflect this heritage. They practice ritual slaughter, maintain dietary laws similar to kosher, and observe the Sabbath. Genetic studies have provided even more compelling evidence, showing that many Lemba men carry the Cohen modal haplotype, a genetic marker associated with the priestly line of Aaron. This genetic link offers a tangible connection to the ancient Israelites, suggesting that the priestly line may have survived in this community, far from the land of Israel. These stories of survival, adaptation, and identity are not just about individual communities. They are part of a larger narrative that points to the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. The Bible speaks of a time when God will gather his scattered people from the four corners of the earth and bring them back to their homeland. This theme of regathering is central to the prophetic writings found in Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Revelation. Ezekiel's vision of the valley of dry bones is particularly powerful. It speaks of a scattered people brought back to life, a nation restored under God's sovereignty. The lost tribes, once scattered and seemingly forgotten, are destined to play a crucial role in this restoration. Isaiah 11 verse 12 speaks of God raising a banner for the nations and gathering the exiles of Israel. This imagery of a banner being lifted high is symbolic of a call to return, a call that reaches the farthest corners of the earth, to every place where the lost tribes have been scattered. It is a call not only for physical return, but also for spiritual renewal, a return to the covenant that God made with his people. This regathering is about more than just bringing people back to a geographical location. It is about restoring their identity, their faith, and their relationship with God. The book of Revelation also highlights the importance of the lost tribes in the end times. In Revelation 7, we see 144,000 individuals, 12,000 from each tribe of Israel, sealed for protection during the Great Tribulation. This passage serves as a reminder that the lost tribes are not forgotten and that they have a significant role to play in the fulfillment of God's plan for humanity. Their restoration is a key element of the establishment of God's kingdom on earth, a testament to the enduring nature of his promises. The story of the lost tribes is in many ways a story of hope. It is a reminder that no matter how far God's people may be scattered, they are never beyond his reach. The communities that claim descent from these tribes, whether in Africa, Asia, or beyond, are living testaments to the resilience of faith and the power of divine promise. Their stories inspire us to look at history not as a closed chapter, but as an ongoing narrative, one in which God's purposes are still unfolding. This narrative also challenges us to reflect on our understanding of identity and belonging. The lost tribes were dispersed among the nations, and yet their influence and heritage persisted. They adapted to new environments, integrated into new cultures, but did not lose the essence of who they were. This adaptability is a powerful testament to the strength of their identity, a strength that comes not from geography or political power, but from their relationship with God and their adherence to His covenant. As we witness the resurgence of interest in the lost tribes and the increasing number of communities exploring their Israelite roots, we are reminded of the diversity within God's people. The lost tribes, those scattered, represent the many faces of Israel, each contributing to the rich tapestry of Jewish history and culture. Their stories are diverse, yet they are united by a common thread, a connection to the God of Israel and a hope for the fulfillment of His promises. The prophetic significance of the return of the lost tribes is not just about their physical regathering, but also about a spiritual awakening. It is a reminder that God is faithful to His promises and that His plans are far greater than what we can see. The return of the lost tribes is a metaphor for the gathering of all who are lost, all who have strayed back into the fold of God's people. It is a call to renewal, to reconciliation, and to unity under the sovereignty of God. In conclusion, the story of the lost tribes of Israel is not merely a historical curiosity. It is a powerful testament to the enduring nature of God's covenant. It is a story that speaks to the resilience of faith, the power of tradition, and the unbreakable bond between God and His people. The lost tribes may have been scattered, but they were never forgotten. Their legacy lives on in the communities that continue to uphold their traditions, and their story is a reminder that God's promises are eternal. As we reflect on the journey of the lost tribes, we are invited to see ourselves in their story. We are reminded that, like the lost tribes, we too may face times of exile, times when we feel disconnected or far from God. But the story of the lost tribes assures us that God is always calling us back, always ready to gather us into His embrace, and always faithful to fulfill His promises. Their story is a beacon of hope for all who feel lost, a reminder that no matter where we are never beyond the reach of God's love and grace. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the mystery of the lost tribes of Israel. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to receive notifications for upcoming videos and be the first to catch new episodes. Spread these powerful biblical mysteries with those around you. And remember, no matter how far we may wander, we are always within God's loving embrace. Stay hopeful, and may God bless you abundantly. Until next time, see you in the upcoming episodes.